secured their passage into the highly anticipated round of 32. The baseline anxiety of elimination has evaporated, but what remains is a profound psychological battle for tournament momentum. France have ruthlessly dispatched their opponents without breaking a sweat, while Norway have captured the hearts of neutrals from coast to coast. It is a clash of cultures, a clash of mentalities, and you can follow every kick visually, as we said, via your local television broadcaster, as we guide you through the audio picture. Let's set the scene for how we arrived at this high noon top of the table blockbuster. We arrive via a Group I campaign in this open air bowl of a stadium in Foxborough, situated 20 miles southwest of Boston. Beautifully clear afternoon in Massachusetts. There's been a bit of rain in the air, but it's cleared up for kickoff. The daily high has hovered at around 26 degrees Celsius. And as the players look up into the local sunshine, the heat is not quite as fierce as it has been elsewhere throughout this tournament. It is a little bit warm and humid. Stakes are entirely about group domination, both sides arriving with a perfect 6 points in their opening two fixtures. But let's look at how they did it. France completely took over Group I from day one, dismantling Senegal before executing a highly professional shutting down of Iraq in Philadelphia. Norway has been equally ruthless, launching their campaign with a blistering 4-1 thumping of Iraq, following up with a gritty, emotional 3-2 victory over Senegal to punch their ticket to the knockouts. Because of that single extra goal in the plus column, France holds the defensive high ground. They sit first on goal difference, meaning a draw keeps them at the summit. For Norway, the equation under this afternoon sun is binary. They must win or they settle for second. The atmosphere inside this 60,000 plus capacity venue is electric. The French support is modest in comparison to the Scandinavians. There's a steady rotation of La Marseillaise, which has just finished as the players go to the anthems. The stadium, though, visually dominated by the travelling Norwegian contingent. And while the local authorities might have hiked the return rail ticket from Boston from $20 up to an extortionate $80 for tournament fans, it hasn't deterred a single soul. The overarching storyline of this match took a dramatic, entirely unexpected twist the second the team sheets dropped into the media tribune. For the past 48 hours, the footballing world has been salivating over the prospect of a direct head-to-head shootout between the two most terrifying high-value forwards in modern sport, Erling Haaland and Kylian Mbappe. They entered tonight completely locked at the top of the individual tournament scoring charts, both netting braces in each of their opening two games. But Norway's tactical mastermind, Ståle Solbakken, has blinked. He's looked at the macro picture of this major tournament and made a calculated gamble that has sent some minor ripples through the broadcast. With qualifications safely tucked away, Solbakken has rested 10 regular starters. Erling Haaland sits on the bench, Martin Ødegaard sits on the bench. It's an explicit declaration that Norway are perfectly content to settle for second place in Group I, a result that likely puts them a date with Ivory Coast in the round of 32, in exchange for keeping their generational assets completely fresh for the knockout phase. France, conversely, smell blood. Didier Deschamps has no intention of playing the calculation game. Les Bleus are hunting for a flawless 3-win group stage sweep, a feat this proud footballing nation hasn't accomplished since their legendary title-winning run back in 1998. With Mbappe leading a highly reinforced line, France needs only a single point to secure top spot, but their posture is that of a team wanting to send a terrifying message to the rest of the competition. And let's break down those official team sheets for you. Ståle Solbakken has thrown a complete curveball, those 10 changes from the side that defeated Senegal. He's completely stood down his regular heavy hitters to preserve them for the knockouts. Just before kick-off and as we run through the teams, there will be a period of silence in the stadium as both sets of players and all the fans in this ground pay their respects to those victims of the awful earthquake disaster in Venezuela. We too, on broadcast, send our best wishes to those affected in South America, to those horrific moments we've seen over the past 48 hours. But as they pause to reflect on our broadcast, we will bring you that team news. Egil Selvik gets the nod between the posts for Norway tonight. The backline features the lone survivor of Norway's regular starting 11, Fredrik Arsnes, dropping deep to help anchor a defence alongside the entirely unheralded Henrik Falconer, who has just one single international cap to his name. Leo Ostigard and Fredrik Anja Bjorken round out the defensive unit. The engine room consists of Christian Torsved and Patrick Bird, and the Skalsborn Ranger Tello Arsgaard. The creative burden falls onto the shoulders of Fulham's Oscar Bob and Andreas Schjelderup out wide, with Crystal Palace striker Jorgen Strand-Larsen leading the line as the temporary focal point in place of Haaland, and he's a teammate to try and get past. Didier Deschamps has taken a different approach, treating this match with maximum intensity, but with 4 tactical changes to the team selected to start the win over Iraq. Mike Magnon commands the penalty box from goal. Jules Koundé, Dayo Upamecano and Theo Hernandez join Crystal Palace's Maxence Lacroix in the heart of defence and form the defensive wall. Lacroix and Hernandez, 2 of the fresh faces brought into the side, replacing Saliba and Luka Dean. Aurelien Chouameni returns to the starting lineup to anchor alongside Roma's highly impressive engine Manu Kone, with Adrien Rabiot rotating to the bench. Ousmane Dembele, Michael Olise and the dazzling Desiree Doué, who enters the side for Bradley Barcola, operate in a fluid, terrifying line. Leading the line as captain is the central spearhead, Kylian Mbappe. The talking officially over, the countdown on, the flags cleared from the centre circle, and the match official, England's Michael Oliver, checks his watch, waits for the go-ahead and blows the whistle to get this game started. Norway all in red, France in a typically Parisian and French chic off-white, slightly mint green change strip. And already with a chance here, and Kylian Mbappe it is, flying forward on the right hand side. Elise central, it's off the crossbar from a tight angle from Kylian Mbappe with 23 seconds on the clock. Doué inside to Manu Kone. Here's Mbappe trying to keep the ball moving. Strand-Larsen gives it away. Here's Maxence Lacroix, his club teammate. Might not be for long though. A lot of reports back in England linking Maxence Lacroix with a big money move to Chelsea this summer. Remains to be seen whether that will materialise. He is one of the jewels in the crown of that Europa Conference League winning Crystal Palace squad. There's Lacroix to Upamecano. And now Jules Koundé, who starts from the right-hand side for France today. On the left here is the Champions League winner Desiree Doué. Back to Lacroix. So Lacroix's first competitive appearance. He only had 2 caps before being named in the World Cup squad. Here's Doué, left-hand side. Nice switch of play from Koundé. Doué. It's off the heels of Michael Oliver. Upamecano wanted to take it quicker than Michael Oliver would allow him. To be fair to him, so many players involved and France really lighting up this tournament so far. You can't really blame him from wanting a touch of the ball, but you can certainly blame Ousmane Dembele for that touch of the ball, as that's off the outside of his left boot and Norway will have the throw-in. This was the venue where England played up that 0-0 draw with Ghana earlier in the week. And we'll go again tomorrow night, looking to seal top spot in their group. Something tells me this one won't be goalless though. It's Theo Hernandez into midfield for Kylian Mbappe, playing playmaker for the time being. The pass backwards is slightly under hit. Ostigard had to stretch. They'll pick up the second ball. Lovely little touch from Elise. Challenge from Doué. It's poked away from him by Oscar Bob. Here's Mbappe, right hand side outside the penalty area. Ostigard it is who gets a toe to the ball. Well, had Kylian Mbappe's strike gone in, it would have been the third fastest goal at this tournament ever. In time to just 22 seconds, which makes you think, who scored quicker than that? Kone spreads it out wide to Ousmane Dembele. Trying to shake up Yorkan. It's Koundé, lovely pass into him. And on the follow-up from Kone, pushed away by Watford's Egil Selvik. Kone misses the kick. Doué, left corner of the penalty area. And it was Henrik Falconer who got his head to it to turn it behind for a corner kick, but it's been an absolutely lightning start from France. Stinging drive from Manu Kone. Comfortable enough for Egil Selvik. Here is Michael Olise. Theo Hernandez. Olise lets it run. Here's Desiree Doué, 30 yards from goal. Might open up for him in front of it. The penalty area, it does, took it on. It's a half-hearted attempt that Selvik will pounce on. A raft of changes from Norway tonight. If there is one side that could probably play their way through the entirety of the tournament with their second 11, it would be their opponents tonight, you might think. The quality in that France squad is something to behold, the strength in depth. Here's Oscar Bob on the right-hand side. Looking for some support. Being forced back in towards midfield. Poked it out to the left-hand side, and that's clever play, because Jules Koundé came flying in with a challenge. And shelled up it was. He just spread his body in front of Koundé. Barcelona defender drew the contact. No mistake, the free kick's gone the other way. Sheldraub penalised for a foul on Koundé. Out on the near side, Hernandez trying to link up with Doué. Here's Ostigard. Mbappe. Dembele. Into the penalty area, into the box, he goes, Dembele! Did not take long for France to open the scoring. Ripped into the top corner. It's a brilliant finish from Ousmane Dembele. Stays so wide, he's getting chalk on his boots on that right-hand side. Scored against Iraq 3 days ago. It's Bjorken who's just stepped out of position and allows Dembele the space to run into. Fantastic ball though to find him from Kylian Mbappe. Ousmane Dembele had a lot of work to do from that position. There's three defenders in his way. Pierces through the wall of red in front of him. Selvik can't react. And Guy Stéphane, the assistant manager for France, thrust his arms into the air. Didier Deschamps back in France after the passing of his mother. I'm sure he's watching on from across the Atlantic. I'll tell you, it's a little bit warmer than 26 degrees back in Paris. Here's Doué. Mbappe's gone down in the penalty area, but he's getting himself back to his feet. Doué, another shot from just outside the box that Selvik will gobble up. Bob back to Osnes. Ostigard. Close down a formidable duo there, Elise and Mbappe. It's on the touchline for Oscar Bob. He's being held by Theo Hernandez. And Norway will have the free kick. Looks like it's going to be left to the captain on the night, Patrick Berg. Years ago, his contract at Bodo Glimt was expiring after a miserable run of form, and he was openly contemplating quitting football or finding a normal job, but after re-signing with the club and transforming himself into a powerhouse midfielder, covers some astonishing ground, Berg, and ranks as one of the top 10 distance runners in the Champions League group phase this year. What a remarkable campaign Bodo Glimt had. He finds himself preparing for knockout stage football at the globe's biggest international tournament. Upamecano to Chouameni. It's given away. Here's Strand Larsen. He couldn't find Bob. It was Lacroix in the way. Shot from a long way out. The pass was on for Jurgen Strand Larsen. Lacroix just got sucked across to his Crystal Palace colleague, but found himself in the right position to make sure that Strand Larsen couldn't find Bob. It's given away by Upamecano. A little bit sloppy. Here's Bob. Sheltered up, just off balance. Lacroix. Where's it to do, eh? Hernandez pings one out to Ousmane Dembele on the right-hand side, already on his bike. Running now at Bjorken, twisting and turning towards Kylian Mbappe. Ostigard gets across, and that's an important toe to the ball. Mbappe was heading away from goal, but when that stopped him. Into Dembele. Koundé, Chouameni, Elise trying to use the outside of his boot to steer the ball into the penalty area. Lacroix, Hernandez, deep towards the back post, volleyed back across the face of goal. There's no one there for France. And Arsenes plays it against the French attacker. Elise for a Norwegian throw-in. We have a game in Group I. Senegal taking on Iraq. Senegal and Iraq, to be honest, both needing a big win to have a chance of progressing as one of the best third-placed finishers. It's given away on the edge of the box. Here's Elise! And his shot was on target, but just bobbled against the defender. It's beautiful, unselfish link-up play from Kylian Mbappe yet again. Long towards Strand Larsen. Lacroix with the header over his shoulder. Senegal have opened the scoring against Iraq. It's been credited to Diarra. Set up by Abdoulaye Seck. There's a VAR review as well in Toronto, which could see Iraq reduced to 10. That would only help Senegal if they are to pick up that big win and improve that goal difference. Berg's delivery towards the back post. Lucara away as it headed towards Strand Larsen. He's sheltered up, left hand side. Needs a bit of support. He's got both Kunde and Elise close to him. Horsness. Lovely! Strand Larsen with the first touch, but the second was lashed over the crossbar. Brilliant from Jørgen Strand Larsen. Ball came in, took it down with his right, just in front of Dairo Upamecano. He just couldn't get over it. Lovely piece of control from the former Wolverhampton Wanderers striker. If he had finished it off, it would have been interesting to see if it stood, considering in that Ecuador-Germany game there was a goal scored, including contact at the head of the defender from a raised boot, and the officials didn't deem it fit to review it by VAR. As it stands, Senegal's goal against Iraq would be sending Scotland out of the tournament. News as well from Toronto and Iraq are in fact down to 10 men after just 30 minutes. It's Anthony Taylor who's the referee, and he's wandered over to the pitch side monitor and decided that Rebin Sulaka has denied Sadio Mane a clear goal-scoring opportunity. So Senegal could vastly improve their goal difference against a Iraq side that have been battered and bruised throughout the tournament so far. Here's Dembele. It's a fascinating feature of this tournament, the third place qualifiers. Sweden and Ecuador confident of their positions in the next round. It's the sides towards the bottom of that group of 8. The top 8, the best 8 third place finishers will go through as well. Currently, positions 5, 6, 7 and 8 are occupied by Croatia, South Korea, Senegal and Algeria. That's as things stand as well. Croatia have another game to play, as do Algeria, Cape Verde, Belgium and Democratic Republic of Congo in 8th, 10th, 11th and 12th respectively. But it's the goal difference that comes into it here. Senegal's goal against Iraq is the -2. Here's Mbappe on the left-hand side. Shifted on to his right, drills it towards goal. Selvik didn't know much about it but reacted. Good save with his right foot. Mbappe tried to give him the eyes, but Selvik just held his ground. To put Senegal's -2 goal difference into context, Algeria, who have one more game to play, are on 3 points with 1 win, -2 goal difference. Scotland in 9th with 1 win, 1 goal scored, 4 conceded, -3 goal difference. A 3-goal win for Senegal would almost certainly book their place in the next round of the tournament. I expect Belgium would put themselves in the mix as well. Croatia look well set. Taking on Ghana in the final game of the group. Here's Lacroix. Germany. Upamecano. Again slung down the touchline for Dembele. Samuel play it backwards to Michael Elise. Upamecano. Everyone behind the ball in red. Lacroix. Kone. Down the outside, Dembele tries the low cross. Kept in play by Michael Elise out on that far side. Early ball towards Kylian Mbappe. There's that vision again from the former Crystal Palace man. This group in fact has quite a Crystal Palace flavour to it. You factor in The likes of Michael Elise, who used to wear the red and blue of Crystal Palace, Maxence Lacroix in the starting lineup for France today. Jean-Philippe Mateta on the bench. Ismail Assar as well, playing for Senegal at the moment against Iraq. Jordan Ayew, the former Palace man, there as well. And Jørgen Strand Larsen, who starts this afternoon for Norway. In fact, only Real Madrid players have scored more goals than Palace players in this tournament. Here's an effort from a long way out. That one charged down by Chouameni. Here's Arsnes on the edge of the penalty area. Elise. Rattled into Mbappe. Tug from Ostigard. France with the advantage. Here's Dembele. Edge of the penalty area. Fantastic finish from Ousmane Dembele. It's the same combination and exactly the same result. This one, though, is just a little bit more special from Ousmane Dembele. Drifted into a central area. Mbappe gets away from Ostigard despite the pull of the jersey, the shorts, the socks, whatever he could get a hold of. Mbappe just steps across the face of the penalty area as Ostigard drops off, as does Falconer. And that one's right in the corner. No chance at all for Egil Selvik. And once again, questions to be asked of the positioning of the Norwegian defence. Brilliant goal for a brilliant player. Norway 0, France 2. Just 20 minutes gone as well in Boston. Asgard level things. Oh, pulls one back, I should say. Right from kickoff. Rangers Tello Asgard pulls one back. Almost seemed to just walk through the France defence. Strand Larsen got them moving. It was simple to the left-hand side. And then Tello Asgard with quick feet on the edge of the penalty area. Just to drift away from Dayot Upamecano. It opens up. Maignan caught with his weight heading in the wrong direction. And as the stadium screens still display Ousmane Dembele's name for his goal, Tello Asgard pulls one back for Norway. Born in Liverpool to a Norwegian dad and a French mother, scoring here in Boston. Kind of represented 3 different nations at this tournament. It's his first goal since an 11-1 win over Moldova in September of last year. It's behind by Arsnes. Well, prior to this game and the game involving Senegal and Iraq in Toronto, 17 goals scored in this group, which is quite a remarkable statistic. Well, that's just involving these two teams. Pulled back, Elise pushes it towards goal, bodies in the way. Koundé, Doué again. Torsved was in the way. Dembele keeps it moving. Left hand side here for Theo Hernandez. Elise off the right hand side here. Shift past his man. Looking to cut it back onto that left foot. Here's Koundé. Kylian Mbappe. Elise. Chouameni. Hernandez. He'll take one on from range. Well, move into the hydration break with 23 minutes gone. What a game it's been already. It's him fairly breathless. 3 goals scored. Boos ring out around this stadium in Foxborough, Massachusetts. It's become a recurring feature of these hydration breaks. And the Norwegians, despite the relatively mild temperatures, will put some ice packs around their necks. In the game here, Snorre Solbakken is just getting that message across. Teno Asgard's goal has given them something to build from. But make no mistake at all, it has been all France pretty much from the word go. Behind Egil Selvik's goal, a sea of red. Pockets of red throughout the stadium, punctuated by little flashes of blue. After the first quarter of this game, which is effectively what we now have in this tournament, it's been one of the games of the tournament. Couple of superb pieces of skill, not just from the likes of Dembele and Mbappe. Teno Asgard too in his goal. Superb touch as well from Jürgen Strand Larsen. If that had gone in, you never know, could be all square here. While these two sets of players have really lit up this stadium. It's to be the old stomping ground of one of the goats of American football, Tom Brady. And we're seeing maybe one of the goats of the game the rest of the world knows as football, Kylian Mbappe. Not as a goal scorer, not yet, but certainly as a provider. 2 assists to his name to go with those 4 goals he's scored across the tournament thus far. Well, let's see how that hydration break affects the momentum. As Egil Selvik of Watford will get us restarted from the goal kick. It's a bit of a late bloomer. Representation from the English domestic game in the Norwegian squad, and of course as well you would say in the French squad too, with the likes of Lacroix and Saliba. It's Chouameni. It's outside the centre circle, tries to lift one on the left hand side for Desiree Doué. This is their 4th appearance at this tournament, Norway. After 1938, they were here 32 years ago in 1994, and then 4 years later in France itself. They haven't returned since that point until this edition. This shelter up. Well, they can make a mark on the tournament again here. Björkan. Patrick Berg. The goal scorer Asgard. A body feint to just evade Michael Elise. Berg. It's a good limper. Back heel from Asgard. Towards Strand Larsen at the near post. Bit of carnage there. Maignan has tried to pounce on it. And he's helped away by his key teammate, Maxence Lacroix. And Norwegian supporters giving something sink their teeth into now, and you hear that iconic noise away to our left as thousands of red-clad Norwegian supporters start to row. It's Bjørken. Much better from Norway now. Osnes. Here comes Osnes. Oscar Bob. Falconer. Ostigard. It's too long, the Pasha Osnes. Set a play. A lot of strength in depth on the bench, Norway, but Julian Riasson will be unavailable to them today. Here's Ostigard into the centre circle inside his own half of the pitch. Speared forward. Oscar Bob latches onto a loose touch from Theo Hernandez. Maybe a chance for Jørgen Strand Larsen. The pass just slightly too far in front of him. Upamecano got there first. Not a bad opportunity for Norway. Koundé. Upamecano. The goalkeeper now, Maxence Lacroix. Manu Kone. Chouameni. France into the Norwegian half in the blink of an eye. Now Dembele. And who's lit up this game already. Ousmane Dembele finds Elise. Will squeeze it back to Kone. Slightly off balance, Elise. Theo Hernandez. Kylian Mbappe. Left hand side is Desiree Doué. Doué for Kone. Kone for Chouameni. Now Dembele, right edge of the penalty area. Very congested box. Dembele completes the hat-trick in slightly more than half an hour. Ousmane Dembele with a fantastic finish. This one low into that far corner. Sublime from Ousmane Dembele. Spotted by Chouameni. Shifted it onto his left. Uses Asgard and Ostigard as a guide to try and curl it into that bottom corner, and he's done brilliantly there. Norway with almost everyone back in the penalty area. Believing even a Viking wall can't stop PSG's main man. It's Norway 1, France 3, and they've all been scored by Ousmane Dembele. It's the third hat-trick of this tournament. I'm not sure you would have got great odds on Ousmane Dembele being one of them. Not much of a return on your investment. Ostigard. Falconer. Strand Larsen. Elise. Still going, Michael Elise. Here's Ousmane Dembele on that right-hand side. They can't let him cut in. He's trying anyway. Lays it off. Chouameni leaning back as he hit it. Selvik will launch it downfield. From Hernandez. Doué. Cute to find Kone. Kone for Hernandez. Early to Mbappe. Tried to take him with him. Ostergaard was on the spot to help him out. And Norway have the ball again. Berg. Ostergaard. Asgard. Sheldrup, almost stumbling as he makes his way forward. Trying to find Strand Larsen, but he was caught late there, Sheldrup, by Upamecano. Norway with the free kick. Just a little bit untidy from the Bundesliga winner. It's Patrick Berg who stands over this. Berg looking for Ostergaard, who made the run on the left-hand side. As if my Norwegian pronunciation isn't quite up to scratch. Ostergaard. Either way you want to say it, Norway still have the ball out on that left-hand side. France with some real moments of quality. That's why they lead by such a good margin so far in Boston. But Norway, I'm just going to roll over and take this. They are still trying to make inroads. Ostergaard, that's over Oscar Bob's head. Hernandez with the throw into Lacroix. And here's Upamecano. Bit of time. Chouameni does as well. He's Dembele on the right hand side. It's just behind Elise and too far in front of Koundé. They're going to touch on the ball anyway and lay it off to Chouameni. It's perfect pass by Mbappe, finds Desiree Doué. It's Ausnes backing away. Some assistance from Oscar Bob, and Norway will clear the danger. Not just Strand Larsen, gets his head to it, but no one there in support. So it drops here to Bob. Chouameni. And Lise. He's threatening to go through the gears there. Now Dembele, right hand side. Chouameni. Kone. Doué. Mbappe. Solid challenge from Falconer. Mbappe went down. Oliver raised him back to his feet. Oscar Bob, a bit of a pickle here, but just got an escape route. Asgard, fed by Strand Larsen. Sheldrup, claim of handball, and it did bounce up and hit Jules Koundé, so that will be a free kick just shy of the halfway line in the Norwegian half of the pitch, out on that left flank. Given away, they went looking on the left hand side again. When asked about this game after it went over Senegal, Erling Haaland said he didn't really care about this one. He says France are through, we're through, France will probably win, France will probably go on to win the whole thing. He's that kind of customer, isn't he? Elise trying to make ground down the right flank. Mr. Doué. Here's Lacroix. Dembele. Falconer gives it away. He's done so well there, Selvik. He's dug him out of a massive hole there. Spread himself, got a touch of the ball. Desiree Doué looking to pounce. Here's Sheldrup, left-hand side, into the penalty area. Wins the corner off Jules Koundé. So close to a fourth, though, for France. It's brilliant from Selvik. Stood his ground. Doué tries to go round him. Should probably take that on first time with Selvik not set. Major let off for Norway. Built ball towards the back post. Back on the face to go by Asgard. There's Ostergaard stooping, but he couldn't make contact. And here come France on the counter. Led forward by Elise. Brilliant pass. Dembele tried to set one up for Mbappe. Dembele. Not high. That's too high for Kylian Mbappe. Brilliant header back across from Asgard. It's a great clearance from Upamecano, who's almost backheeled the volley away with Ostergaard ready to apply the finishing touch. Germany. Theo Hernandez forward to Doué. Alsnes pokes it free. Kone wins it back as Bob tried to escape. Here's Manu Kone inside left channel, trying to break forward. Selvig again with a really important intervention. It was lovely from Kone. Little give and go with Mbappe. Played on side by Alsnes. Just, I think he took one too many touches there. Manu Kone. We've reached the 45-minute mark. We'll find out how much time is going to be added on. 5 minutes. It is. Held off by the fourth official. Torsvedt to Oscar Bob. Torsvedt on this right-hand side. Played across the face of the penalty area. Asgard holds it up. It's won back by Chouameni. Looks for Hernandez. Now Lacroix. From inside his own box, it was straight at Asgard, but not know much about it. Otakunde. Upamecano. On crossfield ball. Taken down by Doué. Lovely switch of play. Here's Desiree Doué approaching the edge of the penalty area. He's taken on a few from this short of range. Will he do it again? No, he won't. He'll find Michael Elise. Elise digs one out with his right foot. That one's over the crossbar. Even a player of his talent has a preferred foot. And his right is what you might deem his swinger. Upamecano. Doué. And Chouameni here. Elise. Pull back on the Reading and Chelsea Academy graduate. Dembele, the pass to Elise. Cut out by the sliding figure of Torsvedt. Long to Strand Larsen. Kunde for Kone. And Theo Hernandez. Desiree Doué. Manu Kone. Torsvedt. Doué for France, just outside the penalty area. Kylian Mbappe. Chouameni. Dembele, right-hand side, where he's been so threatening. Chouameni round the back. As he won the corner. Ball just drifted out of play as he tried to get his cross away. Came back off his knee anyway, so it would have been a goal kick if it had crossed the line. Familiar figure of Egil Selvik standing over a goal kick. Flicked off by Strand Larsen, up and away by Upamecano. Elise in a central position. Theo Hernandez. Manu Kone. Mbappe. Dembele. To Mbappe, who's just periodically dropping into midfield. Chouameni. Kone. Doué. Elise, 30 yards from goal. Lacroix. Left edge of the centre circle. Elise. Dembele. Dembele lifted in towards Mbappe. Cigar just got his body across and will guide that out of play for a goal kick. Four goals in this first half. And it's lived up to the billing. Michael Oliver brings that first half to an end. A gilded performance from a man who holds the Ballon d'Or. Ousmane Dembele, with a first half hat-trick, has given France total control of this game. Teno Asghar with a moment of quality of his own, but it's been all about Ousmane Dembele and Kylian Mbappe turning provider. They look set to clinch top spot, at least on this first half performance anyway, France. Norway with 10 changes, and it shows. Second half coming in 15 minutes time, but as things stand, it's a very good performance from France. Norway though, will hang in there for as long as possible. Join us in 15 minutes time for the second half live, but at half time it is Norway 1, France 3. Welcome back. France in control in Boston. After 10 changes to the Norwegian lineup, it's what we'd expected. Prior to kick-off, there are 2 changes for Norway at the start of this second half. All 3 French goals scored by Ousmane Dembele, and 3 wonderful goals as well. And the changes for Norway: off goes Fredrik Bjorken. A tough first half did Bjorken, and Christian Torstved is the other player who departs. On in their place come Marcus Pedersen of Torino and Morten Thorsby, who wears the number 2 on his back, of Cremonese. Take the kick-off, and Michael Elise immediately puts it out of play, almost like a rugby kick-off. So it's out of play for a Norwegian throw on the left-hand side. The new man Holmgren, with his first touch of the ball, will be with his hands. As with his second, the ball out of play off the head of Chouameni. Marcus Holmgren Pedersen slotting in at left-back. Means the lineup for Norway is now Egil Selvik in goal. Marcus Holmgren Pedersen on the left-hand side. Østigard, Henrik Falconer, the 2 centre-backs. Fredrik Aursnes on the right-hand side of the defence. Berg now partnered by Morten Thorsby. Where's that number 2? He's a campaigner for the campaign against global warming. That 2 indicates the 2 degrees of warming, which could cause significant challenges. We're seeing some of the effects back in Europe as well, with unprecedented heat waves across the continent. Jørgen Strand Larsen, Oscar Bob, Taylor Asgard and Andreas Schjelderup round off the Norway 11 now at the start of this second half. No changes for France at the start of this period. Mike Magnon in goal, Koundé at right back, Theo Hernandez on the left-hand side, Upamecano partnered by Maxence Lacroix of Crystal Palace. Chouameni and Kone in the engine room for France. Ousmane Dembele operating from that right-hand side with his 3 goals. Strong level with his captain Kylian Mbappe in goals for the tournament. Desiree Doué on the left-hand side, Michael Elise in behind Mbappe. And it's a very fluid trio behind the French captain. Ball out of play on the near side. Kone in front of the Norwegian dugout, links up with Elise. Kone released, back to Elise, central position, but wasn't aware of Patrick Berg's presence there. Will nip it away from the French number 11, and it's all the way back to Egil Selvik. To pull off a couple of saves as well to spare Norway's blushes. It's good work from Strand Larsen. Asgard, who has Norway's goal, and a fine goal it was too. Schjelderup, edge of the penalty area, pulls it across. Oscar Bob, former City man, now with Fulham. Here's Aursnes round the corner for Bob. Evades Kone's challenge. That's a foul by Theo Hernandez, and that's a penalty for Norway. Probably could have gone down under the initial challenge, but the second from Theo Hernandez, yep, no question. Just leaves that left leg dangling, and Oscar Bob can't get past. Hasn't got anything on the ball either, Theo Hernandez. And Ståle Solbakken enjoys that from Oscar Bob. And nominally, you'd expect Erling Haaland to take this. He scored 6 of his 8 international penalties. A bit of a debate as to who will take this. Kylian Mbappe is just having a word with Michael Oliver. Yeah, I was going to check it. Looks like it's Jørgen Strand Larsen who's been given the responsibility. He's battling for the starting berth at Crystal Palace and has been this season since joining in January from Wolves for £45 million with a man on the French bench, Jean-Philippe Mateta. But has no problem playing second field to Erling Haaland in the Norwegian squad. Refers to him as his great mate and a man who's exceptionally talented. Here's Jurgen Strand Larsen versus Mike Maignan. Hands on hips on the edge of the penalty area. Strand Larsen, a step to his left, approaches the ball, and it's saved by Maignan. It's tame from Strand Larsen, back in by Bob. That's how to play. He's too close to the goalkeeper. I think he's waiting for Maignan to make the move. He feints to his left, Maignan, feints to his right, I should say, then goes to his left. It's really a poor penalty from Jurgen Strand Larsen. Lacroix, Maignan to Koundé, keeps it in play, nods it down to Elise. Maignan back to Upamecano, inside to Mike Maignan. We're just trying to press on the edge of the French penalty area here. Lacroix. There's Bob breathing down his neck. Towards halfway. It's met by Falconer. Here's Bob again. Right hand side. Dancing his way into the penalty area. Pulls it back. Asgard lays it off to Berg. Back to Asgard. Sheltered up. Strand Larsen can't sort his feet out. And it's away by Upamecano. And now here come France. Flooding forward with Doué. Slips it into the path of Mbappe. And Egil Selvik comes flying off his line. Throws himself at the feet of Kylian Mbappe and comes away with the ball. An open start to this second half already in Boston. In Foxborough, I should say. 20 odd miles southwest of Boston city centre. Berg. Alsnes. Torsby. Here's Falconer. Alsnes. Bob. Berg. Westergaard. Asgard. Alsnes. Bob. To Asgard. Bob again on the right hand side. Steps in field, late finds Asgard. Looking for Oscar Bob again. Lacroix to shepherd him out of play. Clever little run from Oscar Bob. Couldn't quite pull off the pass though. To Asgard. Manuel's clearance. Straight to Alsnes. Now Berg. Westergaard. Into the chest of Strand Larsen, who has to juggle on the edge of the penalty area. And Lacroix gets it away. Koundé. No clearance. Bobbles to Westergaard just forward of halfway. Alsnes for Berg. Down this left hand side they come. Sheltered up. Chouameni with the slide challenge. Nothing wrong with it, says Michael Oliver, despite the protests of a few thousand Norwegians behind Mike Maignan's goal, but it will be a corner. It's Patrick Berg who will spot this one up. Twins in from the near side. High into the penalty area. Oh, flick on it on the way through by Leo Cigar. No one there at the back post to finish it off, though. Ostigard almost there. Strand Larsen it was making the run at the back post, but just blocked off. Maxence Lacroix. Here's Ostigard. Scored in Norway's opening game. Seen Ødegaard, the provider, from a corner. Thumping header it was as well. There's a threat from those kind of positions. As it tipped away from Strand Larsen, he slapped the ground in anger. There, Ostigard. No opportunities for Norway here. Probably some more opportunities than the first half suggested. A little bit lax at times, Norway. Here is Elise, almost to underline that point. Elise, edge of the penalty area, posted to the left-hand side, Douay. Back to the edge of the box, Mbappe will take it on. That was always a fading away from the target. It's not too far away, you know. Was dipping towards the top corner. Dipping enough. Maybe Selvik has stayed down. He flung himself to his left to try and get to that ball. In the process, seems to have done himself a bit of a mischief. Let's have a little look. Can't see anything from the replay, but temporary grass surface in Foxborough. Often, I mean, there's a little bit less give underfoot. And the Norwegian physio team are out there saying to their goalkeeper, there does seem to be a little bit of concern for Regil Selvik. We do have Oyen Nyland, the long-serving, reliable number one. Made his debut 13 years ago. And Sander Tangvik, on for the future. Viewed very much in Norway as a long-term successor. If they can't turn this game around, looks like the next destination for that Viking horde is going to be Dallas. Germany wins the header on halfway. Selvik okay to continue. It's in by Holmberg, Marcus Pedersen. Selvik to the halfway line. Koundé's header drops here to Berg. Germany slides in, pokes it free. Koundé tidies up, back to Maignan, who clears it first time. Ødegaard. Arsnes. Holmgren. Ostigor. Looking for Oscar Bob. Teo Hernandez to cut it out. Lacroix. Chouameni. Hernandez. Heavy touch. Showed too much of it to Torsby. Asgard gets there in front of Chouameni, but can't control it. He's back with Elise. And now here's Dembele. How will he do against Holmgren? Dembele looking for Mbappe. Loops up of Torsby. Doué to Mbappe. Teo Hernandez. Desiree Doué. Doué across to Dembele. Dembele to Chouameni. Koundé. Doué. Little tug from Ostigor. And that's a free kick for France just outside the penalty area. This is Michael Elise territory. Almost 30 yards from goal, slightly to the right. No options to aim for. He might take this on himself. Here's Elise. It's towards the back post. And it's towards the Lacroix! Can't turn it home. He's just a shade offside. Clearance down the right for Oscar Bob. Tries to take on Teo Hernandez. Here's Dembele to Chouameni. Kone. Hernandez. Little back heel for Mbappe. Finds Teo Hernandez. Now Mbappe takes over again. Arsenal in the way. Doué in support. Will keep it from going out of play as it bounced away off Torsby. Took a deflection off the PSG man as well. Here is Doué. Tried to flick it over the head of Arsenal. He's trying a bit of skill of his own. That will be a Norwegian throw-in. As it rattles between the two of them. Senegal have increased their lead over Iraq. And it's yet another goal for Ismail Assar. Another Crystal Palace player on target. This one is denied by Mike Maignan. Ismail Assar makes it Senegal 2, Iraq 0. Arsenal. That will by Strand Larsen. Holds it up on the edge of the box. Now Bob's got a bit of space. Teo Hernandez steps to him. Bob into the penalty area. Bob just got crowded out as he released the cross-come shot, and it's just trundled into Mike Maignan's arms. Thrown out to Elise on the left-hand side. Able to slip that through to Mbappe, but he's done the hard work himself and won it back off of Falconer. Mbappe in the penalty area, closed down by Patrick Berg. Mbappe, Elise, edge of the box. Dembele, Koundé, Chouameni. It's away by Leo Ostigard. Lacroix gets there before Strand Larsen can take it down. There's another goal for Senegal. This is what they needed for their hopes of finishing as one of the best placed best performing third place finishers. Gay is just under third. This Kone for Elise. And Berg. It was too easy, in fact, for Shelderup to win it back, but Kone finds the ball down the right-hand side for Ousmane Dembele. Shelderup lost it. Dembele in the French corner. That's off of Marcus Pedersen. Change is imminent for France. Ryan Cherki and Bradley Barcola are preparing to come on. It's going to be Ousmane Dembele, the first Frenchman to come off. Well, a hat-trick for Dembele in the first half. Lighting up Foxborough. Barcola on in his place, and Michael Elise as well is going to be withdrawn. Ryan Cherki, the Manchester City man, on. I mean, it's an embarrassment of riches, isn't it? Off goes the Ballon d'Or winner and a man who many have tipped to lift that very trophy in years to come. And on comes Ryan Cherki and Bradley Barcola. There's that strength in depth that has made France many people's favourites for this tournament. Will they make their way down the coast to New York, New Jersey in 3 weeks' time? That remains to be seen. Change for Norway as well. Henrik Falconer goes off. And it's Sondre Longos of Derby County. He comes on. He was playing unheralded second-tier football for Ranheim 3 years ago. A bit of a feature for Norway at youth level. Go to Viking, and a £4.5 million transfer to Derby County. He was made captain. He's recovered from a hamstring injury in January to take his place in the squad at the tournament. There runs into Torsby. It's a foul by the substitute. Theo Hernandez. Mbappe. Kone. Just forward by Jules Koundé, looking for Mbappe. Protests his innocence, as that's given as a Norwegian throw-in. Don't have a bit of time to discuss that with the officials. As Mexican wave rolls around this stadium. It's time for the hydration break. Well, they're enjoying themselves, at least the Norwegian fans. They were really asked to take on a big task today, especially with all those changes, but we could see that within that Norwegian Cup they knew, and they were pretty content with their 2 wins so far in this group. Guy Steffen, who is standing in for Didier Deschamps, just have a couple of words with his players. So far so good. Jürgen Strand-Larsen looks a little bit sheepish as Charlie Solbakken passes on the instructions to his players for the next 25 minutes or so. It's a little bit of a warm afternoon. You can understand maybe why hydration break is being used here. I find myself repeating myself on these commentaries that it's needlessly deployed in some of these climbs at lower temperatures in air-conditioned stadiums. And as elsewhere, the hydration breaks inside this stadium in Foxborough, Massachusetts have been met with derision from portions of the supporters inside the ground. All the players back out in their requisite positions, and we are about ready to restart here. Norway to get us restarted with the throw-in. Marcus Pedersen. That's into just Kunde, but Patrick Berg's pick up the second ball. Rustigor. Pedersen. Switch of play to Aursnes on the far side. There's Berg. Asgard, Oscar Bob, great chance and a great save by Mike Magnon. Sheldon runs into Kunde. They've had a few chances, you know, Norway. All the headlines after the game, if France go on to win this, will be about champions in waiting, the quality of Ousmane Dembele. But if Norway were a little bit more clinical in front of goal, there could have been an upset on the cards here. Still could be. "18 minutes to go of the 90. Patrick Berg standing over the corner. That's whipped it towards the back post. It's away to Kylian Mbappe down the left-hand side. Being matched stride for stride by Aursnes. Looking for Barkler at the back post, lifted away by Berg, who took the corner. He's back in his own penalty area doing the defending. Marcus Holmgren, Pedersen tries to get away. Kunde with the slight challenge. And by Sheldon. Berg. Sondre. Mangas to Selvik. He would have enjoyed that. Little Cruyff turn on his own 6-yard line from the goalkeeper. Rustigard. Free kick given by Michael Oliver. He's going to pull up the yellow card. It's Aurélien Chouameni. Stretching there as he tried to win that off Telo Asgard. Longos. Auersnes. Selvik. Ostigor. Berg. That's Leo Ostigor. Strand Larsen. Good hold up play. Many. Stick it back. Raniel had to come off his line. Asgard had a sniff and it's about to send Ibrahim Konate on. No slot in for Teo Upamecano. That is third change of the afternoon. Ostigor. Pedersen. Ostigor. Longos. Smith. Torsby. Berg. Just to the right hand side of the centre circle at the moment. Norway have seen a lot of the ball in this second half. Senegal have given themselves a really good chance of getting through to the round of 32. Another from Pape Gueye. Senegal 4, Iraq 0. Here's Oscar Bob on the right hand side. Drifting into a more central position. Finds Patrick Berg. The touch was too heavy. And Koundé can clear. Gosh. Bounce away from Cherki. Torsby. Ostigor. In the middle for Strand Larsen. Asgard. Berg. Pokes it out to the right hand side and Bob will get after this. We'll go off to Auersnes. Berg. Bob. Torsby on the edge of the box. Held off by Kone. Bob. Looking for Berg. Gets there in front of Cherki. Bob. Holmgren. Otherwise known as Pedersen. Shouldered up, left hand side here for Norway. Trying to take it round Koundé. Koundé will clear. Ostigor. Asgard. Flashes one into Bob. Strand Larsen, back to Bob. Bob to shoulder up. Nice move from Norway. Shouldered up. Strand Larsen. Tried to poke it back to Bob. Berg says leave it. Body's in the way. Bob. Auersnes. Bob. Auersnes. Back off Teo Hernandez. Oh, it's going to be carried away by Bradley Barcola. And France's last shot on target was Ousmane Dembele's third goal. It came almost 45 minutes of football ago. Cherki. Mbappe. Cherki. Doué. Koundé. Cherki. Being played in that 10-yard square here down in front of the dugouts. Now Doué will shift it across to the left-hand side. Barcola. Manu Kone. Graham Cherki. Chouameni. Konate. Tchouaméni on the base of the centre circle. Finds Maxence Lacroix. Sadio Mane has just rattled the woodwork for Senegal. In behind for Barcola, maybe a chance for France here. Selvik in the way, in front of his near post. Hernandez deep towards the back post. Pedersen is there. Koundé. Kone. Cherki. Moving his magic, gets to the byline, stands on up towards the back post. Flicked away by the outside of the boot of Alsnes. Doué. Barcola. It's Lacroix who's stayed forward in the middle. Switched out to Cherki on the right hand side as Lacroix makes his way back to his defensive position. Here's Cherki still. Sheltered up, wins it back. Pedersen. Good work by Torsby. Now Berg. And Barcola fouls Bob. Fourth goal for Senegal, seen them climb as high as fifth in the third place rankings. Albeit with Croatia and Algeria below them still to play, as well as Cape Verde, Belgium and DR Congo. It puts them in a strong position to qualify for the round of 32 as one of the best third place finishers. A layoff from Strand Larsen looking for Telo Asgard. Magnon clears it. Koundé on the right hand side for France. And that's wayward. Won't reach Konate. It's a Norwegian corner. Antonio Nusa and Peter Hauger both prepared. It's going to be sheltered up and Bob to come off. Nusa, a very exciting player. Plays his football for Leipzig. Tricky, skillful, fleet-footed. Modeled his game on Neymar, he says, growing up watching clips on YouTube. Berg must have got at the back post, will undoubtedly be a tempting target. Holger as well can score from these sort of situations. Berg. It was Östergaard that attacked it in the near post. There it was away by Doué. Theo Hernandez. Lacroix. That's to his right back, Jules Koundé. Koundé to Kone. Kone to Lacroix. He let it run under his foot. And Asgard was there, but couldn't make most of the mistake. Tchouaméni to Konate. It's Maxence Lacroix. Tchouaméni. Konate. Back to Lacroix. Down the left for Theo Hernandez. Sets here to France. Fairly confident that they will seal this. It needs a draw to finish top. As France prepare a couple of changes. Malo Gusto is getting his shirt on. Jean-Philippe Mateta, and the Crystal Palace centre forward, is about to come on for his first World Cup appearance. His first appearance in the tournament, I should say. Mind you are listening to unofficial commentary of this sensational international tournament. There's advantage in the middle of the park as Noosa started to accelerate. Here he is again, Antonio Noosa. Ostigor. Asgard. Noosa on the half turn. Forward for Pedersen. Settles for the throw in. Here come the French changes. And Kylian Mbappe passes the captain's armband over. Let's give it to Michael Oliver. He's passed on the message who it's intended for, as off goes Jules Koundé, and Kylian Mbappe too. His replacement, a very different player. Maybe a little bit of chaos theory with Jean-Philippe Mateta. It's Aurelien Chouameni who's taken the captain's armband on. And that's now featuring both the Crystal Palace's first choice centre forwards. Arsnes, well, it came to him nicely. He decided he was going to take it on first time from 30 yards. Poked away by Moussa Lacroix. Magnon. Lacroix with the header down. Chouameni. Offside flag raised. Well, there's a fifth for Senegal. Iliman Ndiaye makes it 5-0 in Toronto. And in the process, you can start to dream of the round of 32. Ibrahima Konate. Desiree Doué. That's another player. Pedersen. Back by Chouameni to Magnon. A bit of a holding pattern now. Hernandez. Chouameni. Gusto lets it go to Doué. Here is Gusto. Kone. Cherki. Gusto. Doué on the right hand side. Kone. Lacroix. Hernandez. Bradley Barker. Ryan Cherki. Turns inside, Kone. Malo Gusto. Cherki. Lacroix. And Gusto took his eye off the ball. Just rolled under his right foot. And by Pedersen. Gusto gets there in front of Strand Larsen. Berg. Østigård. Played 90 minutes, he'll play 5 more. As the fourth official holds the ball aloft. The board, I should say, is Longash. Berg. And Sherky. Moves his way to the right-hand side, Noosa. Led off by Douay, Sherky. Now Chouameni. Hernandez. Barkala tried to burst past Arsnes. Kone. Chouameni. Shifted across the tail, Hernandez. There's Mateta. Clever. Hernandez from a long way out. That one's high and wide and not particularly handsome. Just popped up off the turf as he took it on. Selvic's clearance. Sherky. Kone. Still going Manu Kone. Just ran into a red wall on the edge of the Norwegian penalty area. Sweet little turn from Noosa. That's against Chouameni. And Norway have the throw. Pedersen's throwing down the line. Away by Kanate. Strand Larsen links up with Jens Petter Hauger. Sherky. Gusto. Here's Lacroix. Kone finds Theo Hernandez. Bradley Barkala. Offed it in. There's the header! And there's the one that finishes it off. Desiree Douay flashes it past Egil Selvik. 4 for France. The result was already confirmed. Well, that's the cherry on top. And they'll cruise through to the round of 32. With a scoreline many expected. Three goals the margin now. But the difference in performance levels have really been the difference tonight, this afternoon. The favourites for the tournament, one of many, stamped their authority on the game in the final minute. It's just the third time he's scored for his national side, Desiree Doué. I'm not sure he's going to score many more headers, you know. It's now double figures for goals scored in the tournament. 3 against Senegal, 3 against Iraq, and now 4 against the probably second best side in the group, Norway, albeit a much changed Norway. And Michael Oliver blows the whistle. Both of these two sides knew they were heading for the round of 32 at the start of the game. France and Norway took 2 very different approaches to this. Stola Solbakken making 10 changes and probably paying the price. Ousmane Dembele filled his boots with 3 goals in 30 minutes in the first half. From that point on, it was difficult. Tello Asgard with a lovely goal to give Norway something to build on. Jørgen Strand Larsen missed a penalty. A very tame effort, easily saved by Mike Maignan. And they had threats, they had moments, they had chances, Norway, but made it awkward for France. While many in the tournament will sit up and take notice by the margin of victory, the manner of victory, and the hat-trick for Ousmane Dembele, the Ballon d'Or winner, there are chinks in the French armour, as small as they may be. And maybe some are taking notes, making note, and seeing how can you overcome a side packed with such talent. Norway couldn't tonight, and someone might throughout the tournament if they're to prevent this French side from lifting the trophy for the 3rd time in their history. Norway, their expectations were to get out of the group, and they've done that. They look to be playing Côte d'Ivoire very soon, in 4 days' time. France, they'll have a bit more rest before they head into the knockout stages. Full of confidence, 3 wins from 3 in the group stage. Full time in Boston, in Foxborough, and it's finished. Norway 1, France 4.